tried to hand shovel it. I got 12 buckets of sand shoveled up and couldn't even get my car out.
Take a look at that. Some homeowners on Park Point are getting buried in fine sand and silt, some even losing entire yards to inches of the super fine particles. Thanks for being with us on this Monday. I'm Alexandra Burnley. Well, officials tell Fox 21 that the problem is a result of the beach nourishment project from last year that rebuilt multiple feet of beach by using dredging leftovers from the harbor. The city of Duluth calls it a necessary nuisance to a much bigger problem. Fox 21's Dan Hanger reports.
Some homeowners on the lakeside from the lift bridge to the S-curve say they never expected as much sand and silt to blow onto their property as they've gotten so far. But city officials say it was expected from the beach nourishment project, and it's better than losing a beach and Lake Superior suffocating homes along the way.
Came in and did that there.
It has to be thousands of pounds of sand. It's more than we're able to just manually shovel.
You're looking at what's left of Shannon and Chris Gardner's yard on the lakeside of Park Point that's now more like a beach.
You're hearing the sand hitting the windows, you know, okay, we're getting some sand. And then I think it was 2 or 3 days later, we looked out and we were like, what just happened?
The fine sand and silt is coming from just over what's left of the Gardner's deteriorating dune after last year's dredging project to rebuild the beach there that was almost wiped out by high lake levels and strong storms.
I don't think we're going to have a yard. There's not going to be grass back here. It's just going to be sand. From our level land, from our normal foundation, we've got 6 to 8, in some cases 10 inches of just sand that it's heavy wet sand that needs to be removed.
I can let everything settle in.
Neighbor Keely Youngbloom has lived on the point for 42 years, 39 of that in this house just blocks from the lift bridge.
I take a lot of pride in keeping my yard looking nice, and I feel like giving up. I just feel like selling.
She says even just an inch of silt built up on her lawn is a nightmare because you can't mow it, which only attracts more problems.
I've got ants and then rodents and all kinds of things that would nest in that area.
Jim Philby Williams with the city of Duluth says the beach renourishment project near the Ship Canal involved 120,000 cubic yards of material. He acknowledges the silt blow-off is a nuisance, but says it's better than the alternative of the lake swallowing up properties.
We're still working on the problem with our federal partners, but for now, if we want private property protection, then we have no choice but to accept this nuisance as a byproduct of that.
Philby Williams says there's a 2-year federal study underway to look into a potentially more durable solution.
The chronic erosion problem, which is growing worse, is a joint product of the creation of the port entries and the interruption of that natural delivery of new sand to rebuild the point, but also climate change is driving more frequent and severe storms and more volatile changes in lake levels. And I think the adjoining public and private uses, as you noted, have to a great degree destroyed or displaced the natural barrier dunes that were formerly in that location. And so it's a mix of factors.
Hamilton Smith has lived on the point for 50 years. He's the chair of the Park Point Community Club Erosion and High Water Committee. He says properties without barriers were expected to get the blowback from the new beach, but there is no other cost-effective solution to what he described as an urgent problem.
So I have a lot of sympathy for those people dealing with it, but compared to the alternative of the wave action reaching people's property and doing property damage, we felt that there was a very reasonable trade-off.
Longtime Park Point homeowner Gail Kearns agrees. He saw the lake's waves up in his yard a few years ago.
Water would splash up here and the wave would come up and then go away.
And he really doesn't have a problem with the blowing silt because he's got a see-through fence as a barrier. If you didn't have this, what do you think your yard would be, I guess?
Full of sand.
Yeah.
Full of lots of sand. You do what you need to do to protect your property.
Oh, yeah. And that's exactly what the Gardners are trying to do while accepting their new normal on a one-of-a-kind piece of land known as Park Point.
The grass will grow through, but the problem is when I mow it, now it's going to be creating a dust storm, and it's, shutting all the windows and making sure that we're washing them afterwards.
We've put thousands of dollars into bettering the yard space. Now we're going to have to spend thousands to undo it. So, yeah, it's expensive. It's very expensive and unexpected.
As for any sort of compensation, the city says it is not responsible for anything on a homeowner's property, and homeowners are more than welcome to put up barriers as long as it's on personal property, not on the actual public beach. Officials expect the blowing silt to continue for another 2 years, give or take.